snatching travelers and biting off their heads to drink their spraying blood. It's like a titan. Hello beautifuls, this is Aromie here, and welcome back to Mystic Destinies Serendipity of Aeons. If you guys hear my neighbor's lawn mowing, I'm very sorry. I took a couple hours of a break, and then I was like, no, I'm way too addicted to this game right now, so I had to pick back up when recording. But anyway, I respect both of you and your abilities. I would be honored to fight alongside you both. I never thought I'd hear something like that in real life, or that it sounds so romantic. Ugh, no! Stop it, Michiko. I'm guessing I should stick with my choice? I guess? Hear my lawn-mowing machine neighbor again? Please do not tell Sienna about this. Sienna? Sina? I don't know. I would prefer not to upset her. Tell me about what? Return to see that Sina, I'm gonna say, I guess Sina or whatever, has come back from the shrine. Well, I wanted to avoid telling you, but since you overheard some, we have to leave tomorrow, immediately after we get back to your village. I'm sorry, I know I told you you would stay for a few days at least. He lied just like that, huh? Well, I guess it technically isn't a lie. Oh, I see. She is quite beautiful. Oh, does she have French tips on her fingernails? Well, it can't be helped, right? Honestly, I'm just happy I even got to see you again and spend this much time with you. So, let's get going then. There's a nice place to camp nearby. Before anyone can say anything else, Sina is strolling off into the forest, and we have no choice but to follow her. Because she's a leader. Hikaru went to gather wood for the campfire while we set about preparing the campsite. Having magic is seriously convenient at times like this, since you can just start a fire with that instead of actual effort. Yet they still don't have smartphones. When Hikaru returns with the firewood, we set out. Dude, it's only 1480 at this time. At this era, we set about cooking the food we brought from town. All of us except for Shizuka, who finishes drawing a chalk line on the ground. Carefully following the chalk line, she places crystals into the ground around us. Sina watches her with interested eyes, but me, I feel sweat bead on the back of my neck as I remember. Alright, Mother snaps her fingers. As if I was a marionette on strings, my body plays along, sitting up on its own. I can see a strange chalk circle outline on the ground around us. Her heels click against the stone. She walks to something that looks like an altar of some sort. Please explain, what have you done to me? Why? How? I can see her eyes dart towards me momentarily as she continues to work. She places various crystals along the chalk outline. My heart is beating impossibly fast. I try to stay as calm as I possibly can. I suppose I should explain, it's only fair. She stops and looks at me. I am many things. My true name is Shizuka. I am the last living sorceress. A mistake rendered me cursed, unable to die. I wonder why they decide to pick that stage of her life to make her immortal at that. Why she looks like that as an immortal, not like an old grandma or something. I feel nauseous and lightheaded. I stumble back a little and almost fall, but Hikaru is right there, steadying me. Are you feeling alright, Michiko? Yeah. I stand up on my own and turn away from Shizuka. I fret on the inside, but I know that ignoring it will only make it worse. So instead I go ahead and ask what I want to know. Why is she doing that? Is it a ritual? Hikaru glances at Shizuka and then back at me. Sometimes she does place protections when we are in particularly dangerous areas. I didn't know this was one of them, but I never ventured outside of Miyazawa in this direction before. Hikaru lowers his voice. I can guess what you might be thinking, and I can assure you that Shizuka means you no harm. And even if she did, I will not let anything happen to you. Ah, so cute. Oh, thank you. My anxiety remains, at least, about sleeping in such an apparently dangerous area, but I'm too scared to even approach Shizuka, much less ask her. In the end, her preparations take the rest of the time until dinner is ready. CG art! Finally! I've been waiting for a CG art for so long! We all gather around the campfire to eat our dinner. I begin to think about our unusual situation. I've never done anything like this before, camping on a mountain under the stars. They honestly look so good together. Come on now, guys. We look good together, okay? It feels kind of cozy, like some kind of weird family. I stare into the dancing flames of the bonfire. I wonder who would be who in the family. Maybe Sina, Shizuka, and I would be all sisters. Well, no, that'd make Hikaru a brother, or the protagonist of some kind of weird harem. I hold in the laugh at the idea. Still, it feels nice, deceptively so. He looks so good here. Like the way his hair is on his side and everything. We're just a group of lovely freaking human beings. Well, powerful. Well, does Sina have powers? I don't know. I could almost get used to living in this time. You shouldn't, though. Shizuka is unexpectedly comforting, like a reliable older sister. Or maybe this is what she would have been like as a better mother. But then, why was she so cold to me anyway? I have so many questions still. These two both change in a very cold, to themselves kind of way. Because I'm pretty sure they've seen a lot. First and foremost, though, even if the gods have been silent, I can't forget my mission is to get Hikaru's last soul fragments. I just wouldn't mind if I took a little longer to do so. It's not like time is ticking for me in my world, probably, or like my body is aging. Hikaru's smooth, deep voice interrupts my thoughts. Then, Lady Shizuka. Yes, Hikaru? May I ask why you placed wards around our campsite tonight? A look of something like fear flits across Shizuka's face. I feel my stomach tighten into a ball. I keep changing this girl's name because I don't know how to pronounce it. Sienna only stares down into the fire, her already pale face growing even paler. Lady Shizuka? As fear settles upon Shizuka's countenance, a thin whisper, almost lost in the night's winds, carries a single word to my ears. Gashiro Kuro. Gasha... here? A small nod from the last sorceress is enough to cause a cloud of anxiety to fall over the group. Gashiro Kuro. Is that some kind of monster? Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mention it because I didn't want to make anyone nervous. I thought we'd be back before nightfall, but I took too long and we left too late, and Sina, it's not your fault. Everything is alright. We will all be fine. What was a cozy atmosphere has been changed to nothing but 4 people in the middle of the wilderness, huddling together against the dangers that lie within the night. I spent a lot of time outside of Japan. Long story. Could someone explain what those are? Even though if it's got Shizuka scared, I doubt I really want to know. Both of the women look too nervous to speak, so after a moment Hikaru begins to answer my question. Gashiro Kuro are horrifying giant skeletons. They are said to be 15 times taller than the average human. They can turn invisible, and they're said to be indestructible. They can turn invisible, they're 5 times the size of us, and they're indestructible? I would not sleep. They are said to be an amalgamation? Amalgamation? I don't know, of all the bones of people who died in the wilderness. Ew. Whether of starvation or in battle without being given proper funeral rites. That's scary. This monstrosity roams certain areas in the darkest hours of the night, snatching travelers and biting off their heads to drink their spraying blood. It's like a titan. It is said that the only sound before they attack is the sound of a loud ringing in your ear. Hikaru, please don't. Hikaru blinks as if not realizing how into his story he had gotten. He clears his throat. Sorry. I exhale, letting out the breath I didn't know I had been holding. Oh, that bastard. Was he trying to scare us? Since Shizuka has already put up wards, then we've done all we can. So could we maybe talk about something else then? Sure, but what do you want to talk about? I think. My eyes fall on Shizuka, but I can't think of anything appropriate to ask her. A certain topic does come to mind, however, and I try to think of how to phrase it so it won't alarm Sienna, whatever. Well, when we were in town, I thought I heard someone mention some kind of weaver of time. Do any of you guys know more about that person? Hikaru's eyes narrow at me. What? I didn't tell her anything. He sighs and begins to speak anyway. I have heard of her. We met her and her lover once on our travels. We as in you and Shizuka. Yes. There are stories that they live in whatever place and time period they choose, so I never imagined that I would meet them, but they are settled in Japan right now. We met them briefly as fellow travelers in a town. I was finishing my purchase of some magical supplies for our travels when I felt an immense energy nearby. Did you feel that? Just for a moment, but yes. That was huge. Indeed, I hope it's not a threat. I am not certain, but I think it was a divine of nature. Here? I finished my exchange and stepped away, scanning the crowds around us. I wondered if there might be gods in our midst, and hoped they were not enemies. This is when I saw her standing right beside me, a tiny thing. She looked as if she were a young girl more than a goddess. But there was something about her that made me certain she was no ordinary mortal. Hello! You two are such sharp ones, aren't you? She spoke with a strange accent that I could not place. Some gods do, but the Weaver's was undoubtedly one of the strongest I had ever heard. Are you what we think you are? Am I a mind reader now? Well, I suppose I might be one, but it is a bit rude to presume that I might want to waste time doing that, isn't it? At any rate, I am what you see. I am what you sense. That esoteric, euphoria? These words! Hikaru exhales deeply. Can none of your kind be remotely normal? Oh, my feelings are hurt. A half-breed god traveling with one of Grandpa Emo's offspring doesn't think I'm normal. How dare you speak that way to Lady Shizuka? A calm, deep voice cut through the impending argument. It was then I realized there was not just one god before us, but two. He had been standing close by the entire time without me noticing it seemed. Whoa! He looks cool as heck! He looks so cool! You know, he kind of gives me like, Thanos vibes? Not Thanos, shoot. What is his name? Thor. I don't know, just the nose and the eyes and the lips. I don't know. I'll post a picture. Editing me will post a picture. Just try to see if the comparison's correct. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of another person. I don't know. Suneka. I'm so glad we finally see him, though. The large man's hand sank down to Suneka's shoulder, giving it a loving squeeze. He seems so out of place compared to all of us with his clothes. I was in shock, realizing who the two must be then. Not only had we stumbled upon gods whom are so rarely found in human realms, but we had found the only two known time gods to exist in our lifetime. There's no need to out these people's identities, or be cruel to them. Seeing the way he spoke to the tiny goddess, I knew this god's name must be Tokyo no Mikoto, the keeper of time. He looked at us then, and I immediately felt a warm feeling of comfort staring into his eyes. Unlike the sharp goddess, Tokyo's eyes radiate safety and gentleness. Well met. It's always an interesting experience to meet people who know of us. I wonder that it is mere coincidence that we were able to meet two time travelers in the right place and location. Perhaps it is indeed fate. It's good to return to our own time period every now and then. Is that why you're dressed like you're in the future? Because he's finally warped back to his actual timeline? It can be lonely in others, knowing that we will be forgotten when we leave. I can only imagine. Tokyo looked down at his lover with a gentle, love-filled expression I can hardly pay justice to in words. My love, would you like to invite these people to eat with us? I'm sure they'll provide entertaining discussion. Yeah, sure. He seemed like a nice guy. And for her to act so, like, bratty now, it does make sense because he's not there to, like, be the head figure for her. So you just went and had a meal with a couple of gods. Yes, it was a memorable experience. Yes, they shared us tales of their experiences in the future and past ages, and we in turn talked about some of our experiences. Wow, it's almost hard to believe you could just casually meet them like that. By the way, what did Tokyo mean by it can be lonely in other time periods? Divine magic dictates that order must be preserved. Tokyo and Suneka decide to spend their lives living in different time periods across the ages. But whatever they change, they must restore. No matter what happens, no one can remember them outside of their real time period. I see. That is pretty sad. There's no point in time traveling then, because then you gotta like erase everybody's mind of you. And I think it explains why Suneka seems so thrilled with screwing up other timelines. We talk a bit more about this and that, but my mind never really strays from the story Shizuka and Hikaru told about the two time gods. Everything makes a little more sense now, hearing about how much they seem to love each other. I can't help but wonder what it would feel like to lose my other half. What it would be like to feel the pain she must have gone through. I'm guessing it just now happened in this timeline then. The thought of soon facing Suneka at the peak of her rage and fury puts my stomach into knots. But eventually we put out the campfire and all lie down to sleep. Yeah, I'm very hyped to see this whole story unravel. I can't sleep. With the threat of the Gashiro Kuro lurking nearby and the coming fight against Suneka, I just can't sleep. After turning over on the hard ground about 50 times, I decide to get up and stretch. And doing so, I see a dark figure sitting at the edge of the barrier. They sit right by the sakura trees, their figures silhouetted against the moonlight. My heart stops for a moment as I try to figure out what I'm seeing, but then the figure turns toward me. Seeing familiar, vivid green eyes against the night, I realize that Shizuka is still awake. I hesitate for only a moment before walking over to her. Mimicking her, I kneel and sit beside the woman who will one day be my mother. You couldn't sleep either? Shizuka shakes her head. I can never sleep when the Gashiro Kuro are nearby. Are you on guard then? Yes, I often am. I do not always mention it, but I try my best to watch over Hikaru when I can. And now there are all of you too, so I could not possibly sleep on a night like this. That's sweet. But don't you get tired the next day? I am only human, so yes, but there are some spells that help with staying up all night. You have to teach me those then. I bet they'd be useful for when I procrastinate my schoolwork too long. Shizuka gives me a little smile, and I have a nostalgic rush of affection for this woman. The feelings confuse me. I know I shouldn't feel this way, but she used to smile so much more when I was little. But those smiles grew colder and less frequent as time went on. To see her smile at me like this, it's strange, confusing. She is the woman that raised me, or she will be anyway. Mind if I keep you company? I don't know if I can sleep tonight myself. Not at all. I would be happy for you two. A comfortable silence falls between us. We both look up at the starlight dancing through between the branches of the sakura trees. Ooh, is this another CG art? This is so goddamn pretty. Eventually, Shizuka is surprisingly the one to take... what's this? Oh, dummy. It's not a CG art. It's just a background change. Eventually, Shizuka is surprisingly the one to break the silence. Okay, and I keep going over time because I'm just too into this game. But this is where we're gonna stop for today's episode. I'm so glad we actually finally got a CG art with it's not only with Hikaru but with everybody else, but the main faces are mine and Hikaru, so it's fine. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
반복된 시속 속에 이 잠든 지겨워지게 반복된 시속 속에